The financial sector suggests a temporary removal of stamp duty on stock trading to boost transactions. The observatory says tropical cyclone warning signals may be issued later this week. And in Beijing, a meeting between the Commerce Minister and the visiting U.S. Commerce Secretary. Hello and welcome to TVB News. The government is studying ways to increase the liquidity of the city's stock market. The financial sector suggested temporarily removing stamp duty on stock trading to boost transactions. But an academic says that could heap extra burdens on the public coffers. Jackie Lin reports.
Yesterday, Chief Executive John Lee announced plans to set up a task force to be headed by the Financial Secretary to reinvigorate the capital market and boost investor confidence.
And I also want the task force to start working very quickly so that they give me recommendations so as to increase the liquidity of our stock market to strengthen our competitiveness.
That comes on the heels of the mainland's decision to halve stamp duty on stock transactions to 0.05% starting today. Back in 2021, Hong Kong hiked the duty for stock trade from 0.1% to 0.13%. Since then, a flagging stock transaction volume. In the first 7 months of this year, the average daily trading turnover plummeted to around $113 billion. In June, the daily volume even dropped below $100 billion. The U.S., Japan, and Singapore have removed stamp duty for stock trade. Financial services sector lawmaker Robert Lee said it's a good time to review the relevant policies to improve the city's competitiveness. Lee noted that's especially when recovery from the 3-year-long pandemic sputters amid a complex geopolitical and high interest rate environment. When the world is trending towards lowering the cost of transaction, it's better for the city to remove the stock stamp duty for a while, he said. Over the mid to long term, the duty should also be tamped down to below the current level. But if the stamp duty is removed, the government will collect $5.31 billion less in tax money, accounting for 9% of the annual public coffer income. Terence Chong, global economics professor at the Chinese University of Hong Kong, said, unlike the U.S., financial services take up more than 20% of Hong Kong's economy. The removal of the stamp duty for stock trading might mean hikes in salary or corporate taxes to maintain income for the government. With that in mind, Chong said it's more reasonable to lower the stamp duty to the level before 2021 at 0.1%. Jackie Lin, TVB News.
The enhanced supplementary labor scheme for low-skilled jobs will be launched next Monday. The Labor Department said it will strive to complete the approval process for applications within 3 months. Mimo Singhai reports.
In Hong Kong, manpower shortage is still a pressing issue, despite the unemployment rate of 2.8%, the highest in 4 years. Starting from next Monday, employers can apply to import workers via the enhanced supplementary labor scheme for 26 low-skilled job categories, including hairdressers and cashiers. The scheme lasts for 2 years. Employers, however, must first conduct a 4-week local recruitment drive before applying for the scheme. For imported workers, employers are not allowed to offer salaries below the median level given to local workers. In addition, employers must provide accommodation for foreign workers. Simon Wong, president of the city's Federation of Restaurants and Related Trades, revealed that several businesses are interested in applying for the scheme, while small and medium enterprises must consider costs and profits. In June, some employee representatives of the Labour Advisory Board walked out of a meeting to protest the government bypassing the board when formulating the labour importation policy. In July, the Labour Department said board members can examine each application at an early stage. If an application is opposed by all board members, the application may not go any further. Meanwhile, the first-round applications of the labour importation scheme for the construction sector ended in mid-August. More than 20 applications were submitted, covering over 5,000 imported workers. In response to suggestions that some contractors may favor imported labor by making entry criteria more difficult for local workers, Secretary for Development Bernadette Lin said the local recruitment process must be conducted in an orderly manner. Lin said central accommodation for imported workers in Yuen Long is being renovated after being used as COVID quarantine facilities. It is due to open in October. Minmus 9, TVB News.
The observatory says tropical cyclone warning signals may be issued later this week. This comes after the forecast track shows tropical cyclone Sala will enter within 800 kilometers of the city on Wednesday. Sala is currently centered around 400 kilometers northeast of Manila and is expected to move in the northwest direction. The observatory predicts Sala may interact with another tropical cyclone, Haikui, as the former gets closer to Hong Kong later this week. The observatory added that the chance of issuing tropical cyclone warning signals depends on the size of circulation of Sala and its distance from the Pearl River estuary. In Beijing, Minister of Commerce Wang Wentao and visiting U.S. Secretary of Commerce Gina Raimondo met this morning to exchange views on bilateral trade. Raimondo arrived in Beijing on Sunday for a 4-day visit at the invitation of Wang.
U.S. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo met with Chinese officials, including her counterpart Wang Wentao in Beijing on Monday. She is the latest member of U.S. President Joe Biden's cabinet to visit China. This as his administration tries to mend deteriorating ties with Beijing. During their talks, Raimondo said it is profoundly important for the world's two largest economies to have a stable economic relationship. She added it's a complicated and challenging relationship, but expressed optimism the two countries could make progress if they were direct, open, and practical. Wang said U.S.-China economic relations matter not just to the two countries, but also the rest of the world. He expressed appreciation of Raimondo's remarks that she likes trade with China. Wang said he was ready to work together to foster a more favorable policy environment for stronger cooperation between Chinese and American businesses. He said this could bolster bilateral trade and investment in a stable and predictable manner. Raimondo said the United States and China have worked over the summer to establish new information exchanges and working groups that will enable them to have more consistent engagement in their relationship. However, Raimondo said there is no room for discussions about U.S. export curbs aimed at slowing Beijing's military advances. Dan Orell, TV News.
Police in the U.S. state of Florida have identified the shooter in the killings of 3 black people in Jacksonville. 21-year-old Ryan Palmiter reportedly left behind white supremacist writings before going on his killing spree at a discount store in a largely black neighborhood. Hundreds of Jacksonville residents gathered on Sunday at church and outdoor prayer vigils to mourn the victims, 2 men and 1 woman. Nasvi Kareem with more.
In 2017, 21-year-old Ryan Christopher Palmiter was involuntarily committed to undergo a mental health exam. He was released. So when he legally bought an AR-15 style semi-automatic rifle and a Glock handgun, his background check result was clean. On Saturday, Palmiter used the weapons to kill 52-year-old Angela Michelle Carr in her car outside a Dollar General discount store in a largely black neighborhood of Jacksonville, Florida. He went inside the store and shot 19-year-old employee A.J. Laguerre before gunning down a customer, 29-year-old Gerald Gallion. 11 minutes after the shooting began, Palmiter killed himself. Before the shooting spree, Palmiter sent a racist manifesto to his parents, the media, and law enforcement. Jacksonville Sheriff T.K. Waters described the document as a diary of a madman who had previously passed a mental health exam. Hundreds of people from the community on Sunday gathered at the church and for prayer vigils. Florida Governor and Republican presidential candidate Ron DeSantis was booed after speaking at one of the vigils, having been criticized for his government's loosening of gun laws and its stance on the teaching of black history in schools.
Florida, the state, and its people condemn the horrific racially motivated murders perpetrated by a deranged scumbag in Jacksonville at the Dollar General store. Perpetrating violence of this kind is unacceptable, and targeting people due to their race has no place in the state of Florida.
DeSantis also offered to beef up security at Edward Waters University, a historically black college which was Palmita's first stop and where he donned a bullet-resistant vest. Officials believe he may have originally targeted the university, but drove away after being confronted by a security guard. The violence took place on the same day as the 60th anniversary of Martin Luther King's famous "I Have a Dream" speech. It was also 5 years to the day since 2 black people were killed in a shooting incident at a video game tournament in Jacksonville. Nazvi Karim, TVB News.
Russia said it had scrambled 2 fighter jets to intercept a U.S. reconnaissance drone over the Black Sea. Moscow has also confirmed that Wagner Group chief Yevgeny Prigozhin was among those who died when their private jet crashed last week en route from Moscow to St. Petersburg. Russia's defense ministry said its fighter jets forced an American MQ-9 Reaper carrying out reconnaissance over the Crimean Peninsula to change course. The Russians also said it did the same to a Turkish-made TB-2 Bayraktar drone. TASS news agency said the drones did not breach Russian borders. Meanwhile, Russian authorities said genetic testing on 10 bodies recovered from the crash site of the private jet conformed to the manifest, which had Prigozhin on the flight. In late June, Prigozhin led an aborted mutiny against Russia's defense ministry. He was offered exile in Belarus in exchange for the Kremlin dropping charges of treason. Moscow did not give a cause for the plane crash. A University of Hong Kong nursing undergraduate claimed she was sexually assaulted and students smoked marijuana while attending an orientation camp. The incidents allegedly occurred on Sunday at a 3-day orientation camp organized by HKU's Nursing Society at the Po Lung Kuk Jockey Club Tai Tong Holiday Camp. A social media post quoted the nursing school freshman as saying there was a pungent smell during a music performance on the first night of the event. And some senior students told her that was the smell of marijuana. She also claimed she and others were groped by some of the more senior students. The post noted new students were forced to wear revealing clothing during aquatic activities on the second day. University authorities said they are investigating the allegations and have already contacted organizers of the event. The water monitor lizard Aberdeen has returned to the Kadoorie Farm and Botanic Garden after going missing for 2 weeks. On social media, the farm said Aberdeen was found on Sunday afternoon with the help of a hiker. The reptile was sunbathing on a terrace near the location where he escaped 2 weeks ago.
We contacted the public because we were really concerned that if Aberdeen got out onto the road or into an area where it was dangerous, then we would really need to know quickly. We always thought that because we have a lot of forest on the hillside and water as well, but he might well just stay here. And as it happens, that's what he did.
University of Hong Kong student Hilary Chong emerged victorious at the Miss Hong Kong 2023 pageant last night. Taking second and third places are Lin Wang and Lavelle Wang, respectively. This year's contest is noteworthy for employing the use of artificial intelligence in several of the event's programs. Timothy Lee tells us more.
21-year-old Hilary Chong secured the tiara last night. The champion said she wishes to spread positivity to television audiences as an artist.
到底 AI 生成嘅15號同真正嘅15號嘅相似度幾多呢？
This year's gala made technological breakthroughs by utilizing artificial intelligence, such as employing the use of the tech for the event's host. The rising influence of AI has also become a hot-button issue in the beauty pageant's Q&A session.
選美又變咗做 AI 呢？
A food and nutritional science student at HKU, Chang said the technology assists her daily in writing emails to her professors, but added that it could not replace the human connection. She thinks the replacement of humans in beauty pageants by AI in the future is unlikely, saying that real people have special qualities that artificial intelligence cannot replicate. The newest Miss Hong Kong noted that she had the now scrapped HKDSE Chinese oral exam to thank for her performance in the Q&A session.
DSE 都要練 oral 啦。
Chang said she hopes the oral examination will make a return and emphasized the importance of being able to fluently speak a language. On the government's effort to boost the city's nighttime economy, Chang suggested that authorities develop areas like Lo-Tak Court in Chuen Wan. She said the government can consider holding cultural events and street performances to revitalize the local economy. This year's first runner-up is Baptist University student Lin Wang, and taking the second runner-up spot is Beijing Central Academy of Drama student Lavette Wang. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
That's the news. Thanks for watching. Pearl Magazine is up shortly. Bye for now.